we should now be live. Hello, everyone. Unfortunately, we are having some internet problems again. I'm going to give it a moment just to see if it fixes itself. What's causing this? Wow, that's really not good. Constant internet dropped frames. Hello, folks. Sorry about you might be getting quite a bad signal. I'm not sure what's wrong. Oh, I think we might have stabilized now. Yeah, that was weird. Yeah, I think we are a bit stable. There we go. Sorry about that, everyone. Honestly, I don't know what the cause of the internet problems are. Or the internet drag. Don't know. But we will carry on. Hello, Navi. Hello, Berenson. Hello, Chow. And yes, we are back on the Mediterranean build that we started on Wednesday. I've done a little bit of homework, neatening some stuff up. Most of the homework was set around making sure that this absolutely enormous long glass tunnel was completed. And sort of bedded in and stuff. And thinking about the environmentals I want to put around the enclosure. As well as some viewing in here as well, because it's quite a big enclosure. And I'm thinking that relying solely on viewing galleries or viewing towers, that sort of thing, is probably not going to be the best way of doing this. So, yeah, also put a nice little water feature in here, because, you know, gotta have a nice little water feature. And started doing some of the decoration detail as well. So, yeah, this is the general gist of sort of the path route I want it to take. With obviously some sort of big area down here for this enclosure. Amenities, obviously, as well. I have decided that we will have aviaries up here. I'm just not sure whether to have one big one or several small ones yet. I need to think a little bit more about that. We're going to have lagoons down here. We're going to have hotels here. This area will be a tour of some description, and this area we're just going to have normal sort of enclosures. And I'm thinking there might be a staff area somewhere. I'm just not sure where I'm going to put that yet. Maybe down here in this sort of space here. Hello, Nicholas. But yes, so that's sort of the layout of the park I want to go for. Today I think I'm going to focus on this enclosure. I do want to get it properly sort of made, as it were. So I'm going to get rid of all of these. I'm going to quickly give our sauropods somewhere else to be. That. Give them something to eat. That, and then just go 1, and 2, and 3, Oh, it's because it's in the middle of a flipping animation. 6. There we go. So, that will stop them starving while we work on their enclosure and getting it up to spec. Well, Berenson, we already have some animals. Obviously, we are going to expand those as well. But yeah, I wanted to have some sort of viewing in here, so I went with the viewing logs around this water source down here. I'm just going to make this a little bigger. There we go. So we've got a little bit of high ground here, just to sort of ring the edge of this water. A little bit of high ground here, and a little bit of high ground here, and a little bit of high ground here, which I'm just going to basically have for normal trees. I want to put a bit of a waterfall here. So let's go and get our waterfall sections. I want probably the widest one I can get away with. So yeah, probably want 3 of these. Can I move this one, please? Thank you. These waterfall pieces are nice, but it's really clear that they've been designed for people who make like excessively huge terrain drops. They haven't really been designed for smaller drops. Hello, Luna. And hello, Josiah. That's okay. Right, we're going to need to put in plenty of rocks around. Thus, that's what I wanted to do. Just let me have some flat-ish angles here. Go. Then we need to. Can we get any more water onto here? Probably won't let me. Just enough. That'll do. Just enough. Yeah, sorry, Kairu. I don't know what's going on. I am keeping a look on things. But yeah, we're having 1 or 2 minor internet hiccups. I don't know what's going on. This has been a problem now for a few weeks, that the internet's just been playing up. I changed the port that my cable's plugged into, and that seems not to have helped. So I might just be that I need a new internet cable. So I might have to get one ordered on. Yeah, Kairu. I think it might be my internet cable. I might just have to get a replacement. But that is one of the sort of annoying things about computing, is that you can only sort of troubleshoot one thing at a time. Like, to make the most of troubleshooting, you need to check one thing at a time. So, like, you change one aspect, and if that doesn't help, then you have to change something else until you get to, the basis of the problem. So I changed the port on the router. That doesn't seem to have helped. So next is getting a new internet cable, and if that doesn't help, then potentially it's a computer problem, but I'm not 100% sure what that could be. So it would be something I would potentially have to investigate properly. Maybe get a computer repair shop involved. But yeah, one thing at a time. But hopefully shouldn't be too bad. Okay, so there's our waterfall for going in here as well. I'm only going to do the one. This one is obviously all built. Well, that's the thing, Kairu. Download speed seems to be... Like, I haven't had a problem with downloading or uploading anything. It just seems to occasionally... It's dropping frames on the very odd occasion. So, it's like an intermittent fault as opposed to a permanent one, which makes me think that it is likely that perhaps the cable is dying. It doesn't give me the problem all of the time. And it's not like a massively hardcore problem either. Computers are wonderful things, but when they go wrong, it's incredibly difficult to figure out what and why. Sometimes I wish they were a little easier to diagnose. It's not the only problem my computer has developed in the last couple of months. I think my microphone is also dying on me. So I've noticed some problems with recordings. Which is, not ideal. Just one of those things, I guess. Okay, so on all these patches of raised ground, basically I want to make sure they all have ginkgos on. That's going to be like our basic feeding areas for all animals. One here. Hello, Guillermo. Another patch there. And a patch up here. Technically it's Santa Gigia, not Santa Gigius Island. It's San Albertus Peninsula, Catherine, which is technically Malta. But I wanted to get away from any sort of Jurassic World Dominion references. And Crete. I feel like Crete is a better place to have a park. You know, Crete is bigger, you got more space. And Crete is also quite a tourist hotspot. Like, Dane's been to Crete a few times. So I think Crete is the better place to have a dinosaur park than Malta. My speed previously was 25 meg. Oh, well, I'm on 1 gig, so it's definitely not the internet speed that should be a problem. And I'm the only one who experiences these problems. Like, Dane doesn't experience them. So that tells me it's something about my setup. So it's something, you know, if changing the port hasn't worked, then I need to change the cable. If changing the cable doesn't work, then potentially it's a problem with my motherboard. And if that's the problem, then oh dear. It might be completely new computer time. Or at least considerable upgrade / repair time. Okay, so this area here, I want it mostly sort of empty because obviously we're going to have the log viewing galleries. Yeah, I'm noticing the skipped frame count is occasionally going up by sort of a few every now and then, so it definitely seems to be an intermittent problem. I kind of want this to be a little... Maybe have a few here. Maybe a few bigger features in the middle that we can put some trees around. I do want this to be not too forested, like I said. Yeah. So, I don't run my whole computer off an SSD. I use a standard hard drive and I have the operating system on the SSD. Because I generally... It's not that I don't trust SSDs. I suppose I'm a bit analog in my thinking. And I think it's because I don't 100% understand how SSDs work that I don't really trust them. Like, I don't understand how it functions. And as a result, I don't really trust it. Plus, sort of when they started first coming out, they weren't like weren't massively reliable, so that kind of stuck with me quite a lot, the unreliability of SSDs, and it never really shifted away. But that's you know, that's probably very outdated now, and I suppose SSDs are more reliable. Although, funnily enough, within a year of me buying my new PC, as some of you might remember, it did break on me, and what broke on me was the SSD. The SSD died. Like, the first component to go wrong on my new PC was the SSD, and that also probably hasn't helped my sort of desire to switch my computer from a combination of the two to full-on SSD. Although I don't think that's related to the problems I'm having on the internet side, occasionally dropping out. I think that's something totally different. So, but like I said, I need to get a new cable. We'll see if the new cable fixes it, and if not, then yeah, I'll have to consider other options. The joys of modern computing. Sorry, I haven't been paying very close eye on chat because I've been so focused on the dropped frames counter. If the mutated dinosaur, that being, I'm okay. So I'm gonna make one thing very straight. I'm never ever gonna call it the D-Rex. Even if they call it the D-Rex, I'm never calling it that ever. I am not legitimizing its existence by giving it that name. It is a mutant, and that's what I'm going to call it. So, if the mutant dinosaur in the new Jurassic World movie, that means that I would assume everything in the Rebirth film will be in the new game. Which does give me a few questions. I'm not 100% convinced how they can... And I suppose this is a general question. I don't understand how Rebirth is going to connect to this particular game. Nothing about Jurassic World Rebirth, I feel, can actually be implemented into a park builder in any way. Like, I don't understand how they're going to implement elements of a story about traveling the world looking for blood samples, essentially. I don't understand how that's going to kind of connect to park building or even facility building, unless they're just going to twist you the whole storyline to you building facilities to go and get these dinosaur blood sample. I don't know. I'm not convinced yet that the Rebirth elements are going to work in Evolution. But I would assume that the animals would probably make their way in. I mean, I'm not necessarily against them just doing the Rebirth animals as a pack, a DLC pack, and them not trying to implement the movie into the game into like a hardcore sort of way. Like, I would be perfectly okay with them just doing those animals as DLC. Even though I know some people would be like, why are we having to pay for the film's animals? But honestly, if the base game is okay, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And I would rather have a good park builder than a park builder that has tried to be like some adventure game and hasn't worked. But that's just my thinking. I mean, what do you guys think? How do you guys think they're going to implement Rebirth's very unparky storyline into this game? Yeah, Kairu, I agree. If they remove the biomes, that would be an enormous step backwards. Like, the biomes were one of the few things I was relatively positive about with this game. To lose the biomes would be awful. It would be a terrible choice. Which is why I'm kind of hopeful that it won't happen. Because they wouldn't be that stupid, surely. There again. This is Frontier, and Frontier are known for being a little brain dead sometimes. And will Frontier be able to afford Scarlet and Ali to dub the game? I doubt it. I seriously doubt it. If they couldn't afford flipping Chris Pratt, I doubt they'll be able to afford Scarlett Johansson. If Scarlett Johansson would even be willing to get involved in a computer game project. You know, most celebrities are not massively pro-gamer. There are a few that are drawing on another one of my interests and my other YouTube channel. Star Trek actors do video game voiceover, like, so often. Like, Star Trek Online has pretty much all of main voice casts in it, which is so unique for a Star Trek game. But if I think about other sort of related franchises, I mean, the Star Wars games, the original Star Wars Battlefront 2 got he who plays Boba to... No, not Boba, Django, to do his voice lines. But I don't think we had voice lines from anybody else. And I'm pretty sure that the newer Battlefronts, they're just clipping voiceovers from the films. I don't think they actually have any unique voice lines. I don't know. I haven't played those particular games. Yeah, I mean, given the financial situation that they're in as well, like, something that is worth remembering is we have a new government in the UK, which will have... Well, that government came into power halfway through last year. Now, if we assume Jurassic World Evolution 3 has been in development for the last 2 years, I don't think the new government is going to have that much effect right now. But it is worth remembering that our new government is taxing businesses more strongly. And that might impact Frontier's bottom line. Going ahead, they might have to let more people go. See what happens. That being said, I'm relatively pro the British government at the moment. I think taxing companies does need to happen more. I think paying workforces better rates does need to happen. So, you know, as boohoo as it is for these businesses having to pay more tax and pay their workforces higher rates, tough, frankly. It's about time that that happened. So, plus, I think it's fair to say that when it comes to Frontier, I think a lot of their financial problems they kind of deserve. which I know might come across a bit harsh, but I kind of feel like a lot of their financial problems they do deserve, just for some of the stuff that they've done over the last couple of years. Obviously, the people that lost their jobs don't deserve to lose their jobs. It should have been the management that suffer. But management very rarely ever suffers when something like this happens. You know, companies losing money. It's probably going to be more efficient for me to just use a tall hedgerow here. Hides that reasonably well. I know that we might be spoiling some of the views of the this viewing area here, but I'm just trying to add some interest to this particular exhibit. While also trying to keep an eye on the chat. JPOG didn't have the original voice actors, no. But back then, it wasn't common to have big name actors in stuff. You had one or two, but I remember growing up that if a big celebrity did do voiceover, it was a much bigger thing than it was now. Like, I can't think of any particularly famous faces that were in old video games when I was growing up that did voiceover lines. I think Pierce Brosnan did a few for the World Is Not Enough James Bond game on Nintendo 64 and PlayStation. But that was about it. That's the only one I distinctly remember. I don't remember much more than that, and that's... You're testing my memory now, chat. Hello, Rob. And not much. We're just detailing the enclosure. Yeah, Berenson, that is a good point. Like, and I mean, I raised this in my retrospective review, and I think it's always worth thinking about what Universal are doing and how Universal might be screwing things over for Frontier. Although, again, I would say, as nice as that thinking is, we also need to not use that as a crux and say, oh, well, the only reason the game is awful is because of Universal. It probably isn't. Yes, Rob. The glass house was... I completely finished it and, you know, did all the homework required on it. It required a great deal of homework. I do want to make this more vegetated here. And I think what I'm going to do is leave this unvegetated, so we've got like a bit of a walk through. I mean, this is such a big area, and I don't want to go too over the top with decoration, so I mean, I don't know what else decoration-wise really to do. Maybe we could do like make use of the archways. Maybe just... Maybe... Again, I'm just cooking something up here. Bear with me. Because obviously we are also going to put in some smaller species into this particular enclosure, because the big ones... You know, we don't have enough animals in here, so we do need to pick a few of those to go with. They are loud. Fingers crossed we finally get the damn game trailer and discover what the hell is Frontier cooking next week. Possibly. Everyone seems to be hoping that the Future Games show, is it? Will be where we finally get some information. I want to hope. Because if only for the channel's growth, it would be so good to actually have some goddamn news. But I'm also not holding my breath, because I can't help but feel, I don't know, like it's a bit late for a game coming out in, what, July? If the game is coming out with the film. I'm not convinced it is. I'm probably the one who is least, out of, like, Evo and me and a few others. I'm probably the one who's least convinced it's going to come out with the film. Just because I don't see how they're going to hype it up in the time they've got left. And a game like Jurassic World Evolution 3 needs the hype train to sell big numbers. We could have some different vegetation in here. I do quite like just, you know, putting down a few rocks and just using them to bed placeable trees and stuff around, because then you can create patches of different vegetation around planted vegetation, so... Baby dinosaurs. I'm still very much against them. I mean, what are we? We've got plenty of time. Let's have a discussion. Let's start up a proper discussion about this. Because one of my problems with the folks that want baby dinosaurs is Nobody has explained to me what, on a gameplay level, baby dinosaurs would bring to the game. So, if you're pro baby dinosaurs, in chat, tell me what you think is sort of the biggest positives about bringing baby dinosaurs to the game. Like, what is it the baby dinosaurs will achieve in your view? A baby system like Planet Zoo, unique models with no growth stages and mostly copy-pasted animations. It would give us something to manage. Well, you say that, Kairu, but I think the management the management aspects we already have in the game need to be, you know, fixed first. All of the management we currently have in the game is basically broken. It all needs to be fixed. And I kind of would rather they focused on that than going straight to, well, here's another new system we've implemented and probably implemented in a bad way. I mean, it would give us something to manage. Baby animals would give us something to manage if it was done in the right way. You know. Maybe a Site B. Well, okay. I've said this many times, but I'm going to say it again. Site B mode sucked. People who have never played Jurassic Park Operation Genesis, they have this very rose-tinted goggle perspective on Site B mode in the first game in JPOG. It was like, oh, you could just put dinosaurs down and they would just exist and blah blah blah. It was rubbish. It was a rubbish game mode. It was just pointless. It didn't add anything to the game. No one ever played on it. And I can explain why Site B mode is a terrible idea. But that's a conversation we'll have in a second. Hello, Michael. You're from Crete. Oh, well, I've never been to Crete myself, but to me, I think Crete makes for a better place to have a dinosaur park than Malta ever did. So that's why I've gone with it. I mean, I would love to go to Crete at some point. Lots of... I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm assuming there's lots of Greek and similar history there. Which, as a history teacher, you know, would be right up my alley. What would be better as an island generator? I disagree with you there again, Zhao. The problem with island generators is... And in fact, I've seen this with every single game that uses a sort of generator, is there's only so much that the island or map generator can actually create with the programmable aspects you give it. And what you'll find is that you will start to see repetition very easily. And you'll start to see maps that lack very interesting things. It's the same thing that makes procedurally generated games somewhat tiresome after a while, is that you start noticing the repetition. It's the main problem that Starfield, Bethesda's new game, has. Because so much of it is procedurally generated, so much of it is lacking in, you know, interest. I would much rather have handcrafted, created maps and islands than procedurally generated ones that have no soul to them. I don't think procedural generation is as good as some people like to think it is, basically. I would rather handcrafted maps that were more interesting and vibrant. Okay, so we've got some patches of quite empty terrain here. I do want to do something along these routes. I do want to put in the occasional tree and other stuff along this glass route, just to create some shade. Because can you imagine going in there after it's been in the sun for like 5 or 6 hours? It's going to be the hottest place on Earth. you would not want to be going in there. It would be hideous. So putting some trees and stuff along here to give us some shade would be, I think, really important. But I think generally I'm reasonably happy with this enclosure. I do want to do something with these large patches of water. They look a bit bland like this, so just gonna give them some texture underneath. And I do think in this big one, I think we need a... Oh, interesting. When was that fixed? I thought they used to stick down to the ground. Clearly they don't anymore. Interesting. Anyway, I think we need something like in the middle. So I'm just gonna like create a little island of rocks here. It's a shame we don't have any mods that add like Greek monuments, because that would be really useful for this particular build. And actually, it's something I mentioned in my video the other week, wasn't it? Oh, I mean, I agree with you, Nicholas. I would like electrified fencing to actually work like electrified fencing, as opposed to it just be a straight up damage nerf to animals that hit the fence. Like, can we actually have animals hit the fence and get electrocuted, please? So they might, you know, stop hitting the fence, which is the whole reason for having electric fences in the first place. Like, can we actually have them work properly? It's a very frustrating part of the fence system, in my opinion. That's better, isn't it? Not so open and kind of bland. That's a little bit better. Obviously, I probably also will be putting in some rocks along this back wall just to have the occasional formation, just to break up the simplicity. And this waterfall needs to be bedded in. Let's bed this in. Did anyone watch the Formula 1? Since it was the first race today. I wouldn't call myself a fan of the Formula 1 these days. I would say I keep an eye on it. I used to be very much a fan back in the day, but I kind of dropped off. Yes, Verstappen got second. It was quite an interesting race, actually. Okay, I think we are ready to re-implement our wonderful sauropods back into the park. Now, I'm not going to add any more sauropods. Like, I think 6 in that sort of style of enclosure is quite enough sauropods. In fact, it wasn't... there was an idea of a video I wanted to do. In fact, I was going to even try and get some... contact a few zoos and try and get some actual details from them. But I wanted to do like a video theorizing on like how difficult it would really be to run a dinosaur zoo, essentially. And I mean, sauropods, you're gonna look at, they're eating tons and tons of vegetation in a period of a week. I think just thinking about like the sauropods being free on Isla Nublar, like, I reckon the sauropods would be the thing that destroys that island ecosystem. Because they eat so much. Like, Isla Nublar would not be able to reproduce its trees, I don't think, in a quantity fast enough to feed a huge number of sauropods. That's just my feeling. So, what should we have living alongside these guys? We've got Ankylodocus, but we're going to say Ankylodocus is probably an actual real dinosaur. For a split second there, as I looked at that Alamosaurus, it suddenly made me think of the Titanosaur from Rebirth. We've got our Alamosaurus, obviously. So, what should we have living alongside them? I would like to see something that we could have a large-ish herd of. Maybe a ceratopsian or a hadrosaur of some description. Let's save. And then let's pop back out to the menu and we'll have a look. My mouse feels sluggish. I have accidentally switched my mouse to low DPI, that's why. Whoops. There we go. Myosaura can stay fossilized as far as I'm concerned. I do want to see if there's something I don't use too often. Or something I haven't used at all. I haven't used Diabloceratops in any builds yet. I haven't used the Ionosaurus in any builds yet. Anything else I haven't used? Obviously, Stegoceratops and Spinoceratops will probably have in their own enclosures. I haven't used Tenontosaurus in any build yet. Dibble. Dibble has won. Okay, Dibble it is. Don't know how the colors work on these guys. Let's pick a color first. If we're having male and females, we need to find some colors that work well. I want some colors that look quite distinctive too. I do like that red. If we got a... They would work. Okay. We got Great Sandy Desert and Gambia River Base. Alright, let me get a notepad file so I can write these down. Nope. Sintao is a good possibility, yes. Okay, Dibble. So, males are Gambia River Basin. And let's look for a color. Actually, I quite like the idea of having two different color combinations. So let's have some with Gambia River and Pelophylax, and let's have some with Papurana. We're going to go for quite a few of these guys. Let's have some competing frill colors. Maybe we could say that it's sort of an experiment that we're doing at the park. We're sort of seeing which frill color the female members of Diabloceratops prefer. I think that would be an interesting thing to do. Hamalacephaly might be a bit too small for that enclosure. Remember, we don't have anything... We don't have a tour ride or anything in there. So I don't really think we've got anything that really works very well with any of our viewing methods. I think bigger is going to be better. Sintao was mentioned. I use Sintao a lot, though. Like, really often. You know, I don't think Corythosaurus gets used enough. Although I think I used Corythosaurus recently, didn't I? Can't remember. I know I hate it, but the Orano I really haven't used in any build. I just can't get over the design. I just can't get over it. It's such a bad design. I think we'll go with Tenos. We could put some ankylosaurs in there. We'll put the Ceratopsian and Hadrosaur in first, and then we'll see how much room we've got going on. So let's pick a male pattern. I'm thinking I do like the blue. I'm thinking of a color that would stand out in that enclosure. No, it's not. I do think we'll go with the blue and. think the blue and red works well. So Gambia River Basin and Pulkrana for the males. And then the female, we'll get rid of the pattern, obviously, and then we'll switch it to... Let's see, is there something that... I think the females will just have to make, like... Maybe we can give them a blue stripe, but we'll just make them... No, that doesn't really work. I think the females will just have Ascilian Mountains. I think it's a bit of an extreme difference, but I think it's fine. You need the HAL Hadrosaur forms mod. They're so good. Link me that one, Rob, if you don't mind. I don't remember it. And let's grab an Ankylosaurid just in case we choose to have one. And we're going to go with Uoplo. I don't remember the last time I used Uoplo, so we'll have Uoplo in here. It's actually got some really nice colours. Such a classic dinosaur colour. I'm pretty sure I had an Ankylosaurus model that was exactly like that. Those two colours are perfect. So males will go Gambia and... Yeah, we'll go Gambia and the yellow stripes. So... Uoplo male is Gambia River and Pap Urana. And females will be no Pap Urana. They'll just be Great Sandy Desert. Okay. That gives us quite enough to be getting along with. Funny you should say that, Joe. I literally installed the Indotaurus and the Sarcosuchus mod before I came on stream. Righto, Rob. Well, no worries. I'll probably look it up after stream. I'll go and give it a goosey. Right. So. Dibble males are Gambia and Pelophylax. And then we're going to have a couple which are Pap. So we'll go with two of each of the male colorations. So those are our males.
Asset to be collected. En route to pick up the asset.
If we have 4 males, we're probably going to want quite a few females. So these need to be Great Sandy Desert.
Transported.
I would say 5 is not enough for females, but
Picking up asset.
that means we have 9 dibbles in here.
Understood.
9 dibbles, I think, is enough.
Transportation complete. Transit has commenced.
Yeah, I'm assuming Kai is working on updating open lagoons. Oh look, yeah, and
Asset delivered.
Kylodocus are stuck in each other again.
Assets in the air. Asset in transit. Asset has been transported.
Right, let's get these tenos made. And tenos are Pulcrana and Gambia. 2. And then Killian Mountains with nothing. And 4 females works.
Asset transportation underway. Asset transportation complete. Collecting asset. Delivery has been completed. Transportation underway. Request acknowledged.
There we go.
Delivery
Oh, a
complete.
fight's begun.
Asset transportation in progress.
Oh, it's between the 2 green. Oh no, they've decided not to have the fight. Okay. Leave this on fast forward to actually get these guys in.
Asset has been delivered.
I think there's some more decoration work to use. I think we need to put in some more rocks around here, some fallen trees, that sort of thing. I mean, this enclosure is probably going to be the largest on the whole island, or whole area. Most of the rest of the enclosures are not going to be this big, so I can splash out a bit in decoration for this one. I mean, this tour enclosure, I'm thinking of doing it as, like, going through multiple smaller enclosures as opposed to one big one. I still don't know what to do for the aviary, so I had wondered about doing one big one and having it go kind of like along this whole cliffside, have one massive aviary. But it just kind of looked ugly when I tested it. Like, let me show you guys what it looked like. Okay, that's not very good. I was able to get it a lot closer than that first try. This.
Asset delivery confirmed. Transporting asset.
Oh, you bastard. So that's kind of like one big aviary. And I don't know, I just kind of don't like the fact that it kind of looms over this. And I just think it looks a bit disorganized and
Asset has been collected.
a little bit ugly. So I'm thinking have multiple smaller aviaries and have a tour ride that goes between them. Like, still kind of make this a whole sort of area, but kind of have gaps between each aviary where there's lots of trees and stuff. So you kind of go on a tour through forest, then into an aviary, then back out into forest, then into another one, then into another one, blah blah blah.
Confirming asset delivery.
I mean, we could even make it a river ride. Let's build a crack canyon and fill it with the aviary like JP3. A bit excessive for this sort of map, I think. I mean, that for me would be the sort of thing you build an entire park around, not just have as a small bit of one particular build. I didn't, Luna, because honestly I forgot. Like there's been a lot on the last couple of weeks, so I have been forgetting things a lot. My God, are they still bringing animals over?
Asset in transit.
At least they're up to the Tennos now.
Delivery has been completed. Commencing asset transit.
I think in these, I am going to make them into seating areas, like I've done over here with this one.
Complete.
I think these circles, I want to have seating in the middle of them. So what I'm going to do is...
Transporting asset. Asset transported. Asset has been collected. Asset delivery confirmed.
Another fight has begun between the Dibbles. And obviously this is pretty big for a seating area, but...
Asset has been transported.
A little bit of a Pokeball thing going on here. Oopsie daisy. So I'm thinking between each of these have... Honestly, at some point I need to get back to my maze build that I'm working on and get rid of all the manually placed bushes I put down and replace them with these chiadenic fences. Oh, it's going to make making that maze park so much easier. Okay, and then I want to put down... I think I want to put down some, like, proper hardcore... fortification fencing. as we call it. The Roman fortification fencing. Something I'm kind of surprised with about this mod that Kaidenic has done is that there's no stone like walls. There's no nothing that would kind of work for like a stone effect kind of. I'm wondering why not. 'Cause that would be like one of the basic wall types I would definitely have included. I wonder if Kai couldn't find one that looked decent enough. Yeah, and then in here we'll just have like we'll have another seating area, vegetation, bed it in properly. I'm thinking let's put down some low fence. So let's just have like an outer ring of low fencing. Like that. Yeah, and that gives us a nice seating area there. Hello, Dreadwolf. Okay, I think all the animals are actually in here. Let's have a look at. They have all this space. They congregate here. The Dibble herd has taken over this part of the map, it seems. What have we got? They've got a couple of Tenos here. Alamo. Like these, the sauropods are quite well spread out, but the Tenos and the Dibbles have definitely staked some territories. Yeah, I think we can have the Uoplos in here as well. Definitely got some space there for a few Uoplos. So. And for these guys, we're going Papurana and Gambia for the males. And the females are just Great Sandy Desert. Well, I mean, one thing I wanted to do this particular build is try to have more of the hybrids. Like, I want to try and use all of the hybrids here, apart from Scorpius Rex and Indoraptor.
Asset collection request received.
So, I mean, Indotaurus will probably go in here somewhere. Shall we? We've got sort of 40 minutes left.
Asset being transported.
I want to kind of have a look at putting in a lagoon, even though we're not really focusing on this area of the park yet. We're not going to be able to put that many lagoons in here, are we? We don't have that much space, I've just realized. Interesting. But I'm thinking let's actually get started with that Sarcosuchus lagoon. I'm thinking this will be our Sarcosuchus lagoon. I don't really like how that. I don't really like how that works with the map boundary. That's very annoying. Why won't you let me delete you? Let's try that again. Maybe a triangular shaped one. We have it. Have one. Have a piece there. Go there and there. I still don't like how that works. It's the map boundary is in a really weird place. I kind of feel like the map boundary needed to be actually to here rather than to here. It's kind of screwing up the image I have for this particular thing. I mean, how big of a space do we need for Sarcosuchus anyway? He's not that big, is he? Marine.
Asset transportation underway.
I mean, if we're not going to have too many of them, I think a double lagoon section is perfectly fine for 2. We are kind of wasting some space. And maybe putting them on the outside is not what we should be doing. Also, the delete tool is being...
Asset has been delivered.
Really inconvenient today. Maybe it makes
transportation in progress.
A little bit more sense to have them... The angling on that is not good. That would...
Delivery complete.
There are some days where I really wonder just what were Frontier thinking. Some of the choices. There we go. Why are you fighting? You are male, you shouldn't be fighting with... He just hit the female in the face. Female has hit him back. Oh well. Carrying on. Okay, so what I'm thinking for the lagoon area is that we're going to connect it via Hyperloop station. So there'll be a Hyperloop station up here somewhere before you go to the aviary area. There'll be like a Hyperloop station up here, and then you can go, and then it will connect to the lagoon, and then you'll be able to have a look around the lagoon area. Then there'll be one up here for the hotel district. And then maybe one over here to get back to here. And then maybe, I mean, it probably makes sense for us to have a Hyperloop station up here somewhere. Or even up here. But that's the thinking. So actually, this lagoon we can probably put right in this corner. If the levels work. These awkward edges we can hide with trees and such. So this is going to be our Sarcosuchus habitat. Might try and... idea has come to mind. I don't think that's going to work. I think we would need to use the other one. All this. Oh, hang on. Hang on. The only problem with these things is they are so heavily suited to tropical environment as opposed to Mediterranean. And I just don't like how untidy that looks. What I might just probably do is just and then obviously try and hide these with some rocks and stuff. Need to hide them here as well. I think it works. Like it's gonna need a lot more work. But can't even place trees around these. But like if we have the tree line go up to like here, put down some trees around here as well. Probably bed this in with rock texture and other trees. I think it's doable. I think it's doable. Inside the lagoon is going to be a different story. I think what I'm going to need to do is potentially create a kind of rocky fortification. Where we can put plenty of kelp and stuff around it. We could kind of have this as like a pretend like Sarcosuchus sort of swampy area, I suppose. I actually think it looks alright from above. Like, we could pretend like this is like a sort of more mangrovey area. And then the rest of this is going to be more open sea sort of area. I think that works. Put a few rocks around here to make it look more Mediterranean. Hide those obvious tropical trees with some rocks as well. I think it'll be all right. Oh, the males are fighting. It still feels so low on like stuff, but it's obviously in here still needs to be completely designed. We need to like have benches and walkway stuff here. There's nothing much I can do about the occasional bit of bush popping through the glass, but there are tolerances here, as I am well known for saying. Some of the kelp is a mod, yes. The kelp that is more deep green is modded kelp. And then obviously in here we need seating areas, benches, that sort of thing. But definitely gives some good views, doesn't it? Is that 10:00? I think this has turned out pretty good. Yeah, I think it needs some more vegetation stuff, but apart from that, I think it's looking good. So, Sarcosuchus area, I think will definitely feel like doing something I haven't done for a while. That's probably not deep enough. Probably needs to be a little bit. I say I haven't done it in a while, but I did it in the Arizona building. It is something I like to do. So. It does waste a little bit of space. I think if we do one, pretty sure Sarko needs normal fish. So let's put the fish feeders there. And then let's put the viewing galleries. There. That's the wrong way round. There we go. Have a promenade to give viewing for the Sarcosuchus. What shall we do for the lagoon habitat, as it were? Like, I know I said I wanted this to be more like open ocean as opposed to sort of this over here, but yeah, that still gives us quite a lot of space in here. So what should we do, especially in front of these promenades? Go for an old classic like a sunken ship. Or just go for a straightforward sort of coral reef. Go for a bit of a coral reef here, I suppose. What more generic buildings have we got? Go for some sort of sunken temple or something. Sunken ship. Probably want to lower it in the water somewhat more. I haven't actually used this in a park yet, but I feel like the lagoon it goes in would need to be a lot bigger than this. We've got the old classic sunken monastery. Let's go with this guy. Let's sink him in. sink him a fair bit. Maybe not. Oh, you. That would have been a disaster if I'd already put a lot of stuff down. Right. Let's go. Let's just give them a go for a bit of a coral area. Yeah. Let's give them like a coral valley, as it were. Let's put a few pieces of kelp. Not too much. Just a few to bed it in. Maybe give him some less bushy kelp. And let's put in corals down here. Let's grab some rocks. Do in the middle. Ooh, I know what we could do. Let's kind of make it look like there's been like a volcanic event. It's kind of split this reef in two, as it were. I think a few more patches of kelp. Yeah. I think that's a really good little bit of environmental there. Maybe over here, because again, we've got a bit of a gap here. Let's do like let's just put a few dead whales around. Bed them in with the occasional bit of kelp and some corals. I mean, this is one of the reasons why we really need proper lagoon planting brushes in the next game. Again, I'm assuming lagoons are not going to change that much. I think a lot of people are assuming that lagoons are going to be massively improved. I don't think so. I don't think there's any evidence at all that Frontier will change lagoons for the better. I think they'll be left as they are, more or less, with some minor improvements. But like one of the really obvious minor improvements that they could very easily put in are lagoon foliage brushes. It would just be so simple. There we go. So we got like a really swampy sort of entrance to waterfall area, like a sort of whale graveyard, and then we got this coral, volcanic coral crevasse is what I'm going to call it. For the Sarcosuchus. Shall we go and find some? Be the last thing we probably do on this build. Let's go and for today anyway. Let's go and find some Sarcosuchus. Sarcosuchus, male and female. I think 3, 4 Sarcosuchus. 4. I think 4. 4 just about. Sorry, I am trying to keep an eye on chat as well, but I sometimes like when I'm doing like terrain work, I tend to get so sort of focused on making the terrain stuff look better that I forget to talk or to, look at chat. Right, so these guys have so many colors that we could possibly choose from. It's incredible. I'm thinking we probably want some colors that show up nice with the water. Kind of like that. Guys just give him different some difference in tone there, but most of it is just like the eye thing. So I'm not even going to bother with that. I'm just going to do differences in main color. So if I go with that color, do we have a female symbol? do like that though. I do really like that yellow. I think the males will make great sandy desert. A green one, a blue one, and a purple one. That doesn't really go with what we're doing for this park, since we're doing male and female colorations, Brenson. Okay, so these will be the males. I got that the wrong way around. So these are the males, which we will have as extra variant 1. So those are our males, and then our females will look like that. I think that works fine. Have some more pineapple juice. Don't forget to like the stream if you haven't already. It really does help with the algorithm. We are slowly but surely getting closer to 3,000. I kind of hoped we would have already been there by now. We are slowly but surely getting there. I'm hoping that Jurassic World Evolution 3 announcement will be soon, and I can start making content on that, because that will hopefully boost the channel a fair amount. I'm also hoping, obviously, that when Walking with Dinosaurs Season 2 becomes a thing, I can watch that and do videos on that for the channel. I think that'll boost the channel quite a bit as well. But growth has been rather stubborn. Let's just put it like that. Right, let's go find our hatchery for the lagoon. Look at that, 23 marine species in total for this modded game of mine. Okay, no pattern. So males are extra variant 1. We will have 2. And then females are Great Sandy Desert. And naturally, all the females ones, all the female ones are unfriendly. That does seem to be fitting for a crocodilian.
Asset requiring collection.
Need one more for 700. Yeah, YouTube growing can be really disheartening at times.
Heading to pick up the asset.
Evo's done so well off of like following. I think Evo's success is so heavily based on the fact that she wasn't modding for so long. And that's definitely something I think I'm going to try and do with the next game. Is I'm going to try and stick to not modding it for as long as I can. I also think Evo generally helps by being quite optimistic and very positive, and that can be refreshing, especially in the sphere of YouTube, which
Asset transportation in progress.
So often infested with criticism for criticism's sake. Especially for some of the shows I like Star Trek and stuff. I wish some of these rocks were bigger.
Asset in transit.
Gonna have to use lots of trees, I think, to try and disguise these waterfalls more.
Assets in the air. Asset
This map is
transported.
considerably smaller than I thought it was, and I think the way we're doing it with very large enclosures, or at least a very large central enclosure and then small ones around it, I think we're going to have not too much trouble with peace, or at least I hope not.
Confirming asset delivery.
Let me put some trees in here. Why? Why won't you put trees in here? That looks a lot less... it hides it better. There you go. That's hidden.
Delivery complete.
Look at him, her, technically her. That's one of our females.
Asset delivered.
Yeah, I think 4 is the most I think this sort of size could reasonably handle. I do, just before we go. I know this is a bit wrong, but this guy I think can go a little bit deeper, just for the joy of getting a screenshot. Looks. I think that looks very cool. one. Ah, that's nicer. Gotta take opportunities to get screenshots. He's like, nope, I'm out of here. That's volcanic. That's volcanic stuff. I don't like the volcanic stuff. Quite like the waterfalls though, don't they? Definitely. That works okay, doesn't it? You can see the Sargosuchus there. Maybe they're very interested in the waterfalls, curiously enough. Boom, boom. There. Gotta get some shots for next week's thumbnails after all. Nice. Well, we've made some progress. Honestly, I swear. It takes so long to do stuff on this game now that I have all those mods and stuff. But we are slowly making progress. It's I'll be doing some homework probably before next week's stream. Next week, JWE2 will only be on Sunday. I think I might play something different on Friday. Not sure what yet. Might be... Might be the Isle. Might be something dinosaur related. Might be not. We'll see. There will be a video next week. In fact, it's what I'm going to be editing tomorrow. So yeah, look out for that on Wednesday or Thursday. But yeah, thank you everyone for tuning in today. I hope you enjoyed the rest of your Sundays, wherever you are. And until next week, stay safe and good night.